if anybody has a topic that they'd like to just. So this is not to initiate a 10-minute discussion. But something that struck them that they want to bring up or discuss or just maybe bring up, that would be great. So just sort of opening things up more broadly. I guess that's pretty vague, but
I have maybe an even vaguer topic.
Sure.
Because I don't know enough about it to really speak cogently about it. But one thing that I don't think I've ever heard talked about in terms of integrating large deep learning models with Soar is graph learning or graph neural networks. And learning to represent like the state of working memory and doing predictions based off of that, rather than talking to an LM or I guess that's mostly what we've been talking about is communicating with an LM. But instead of like sending messages to the LM, just have it give it directly like our state representation of Soar as encoded by a graph neural network.
So
Which
I'm
I don't
gonna
know
claim
much
that Bob had a picture on one of his slides that maybe doesn't directly address it, but if you remember on the far right side, there was a picture that showed a thing that looked like Soar, but in all the memories were neural nets as a and which is not exactly what you're talking about, but I don't know.
And we did a few years ago think about using.
I mean, I figured you would have
graphs.
Yeah.
Using graph neural networks. In fact, that was it. I think that was a topic right here. So,
Yeah,
I
but we
don't
haven't done
know a lot more to say that.
yeah.
Not really graphs. Well, I mean, but a little bit we're doing with the JSON, where we're just converting Soar to JSON and having to produce this JSON thing. There's some tricks you have to do.
One of the things that made me think about the graph. No, I was like, don't we just have a graph already?
Yeah.
But I don't know really how graph neural networks work, so that's kind of why I said this is a big question.
Right.
We'll leave that as interesting.
I mean, one of the interesting things from if you try to put things together with Jonathan's talk this morning, who knows what the future is going to bring, but it does seem like there's different niches or different huge areas for different kinds of approaches. And I think that's one of the things that Bob was trying to talk about, is that we should have open minds as to how different technologies are going to integrate together. And we've been mostly pursuing the one where we keep ourselves safe, we're not polluted by neural nets. And what you're sort of and that's a separate thing. You're looking at sort of integration where it is a feed in through the sensory system. We would have neural networks feeding in and then ultimately creating symbolic structures. But then there's also the question of whether you start from scratch and say, can you build a network out of different neural structures that then has the same connectivity and the same functionality of the different components in Soar, but it's all neural networks. And I think, and that's, beyond my wheelhouse in terms of.
Is that kind of what Spawn does?
Yeah, so Spawn does that. So Spawn is a system by Chris Elias Smith, and it does
not
that
exactly
to some extent, yes.
It's spiking, I think. It's not like deep learning.
Well, spiking and deep learning are not, well, whatever. That's not the issue. I mean, but yes.
It's not traditional.
Yes, and they don't do a lot of online learning, I believe. So there's always this issue. It's one of the touchstones of future systems has to be that they do online learning. There's not that many LLMs that, like zero, I think, that do online learning besides content
learning.
So I think, this is a space of questions and issues that I think we're going to want to struggle with and wrestle with going forward.
There was a question in the chat. Where can I find information about Soar ROS? And is there any tutorial on using Soar ROS to control a simple robot?
Who was Lizzie on? Or Moritz?
Moritz did the most recent integration with.
Neither of them appear to be.
Nathan, wasn't there a tutorial with Moritz's work or not?
I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a tutorial per se, but yeah, I mean, there's a website with an integration that's ready to use. It's from Moritz. I think it's posted on the Soar website as well in the news and announcements. It's probably the number 2 down the list. So there's some instructions on using it.
And anyone can help me dump a link in the chat.
Or
So the Soar website is soar.eecs.umich.edu. If somebody want to type.
Yeah.
And then, and then,
Oh, it is on the regular.
Yeah, right there. You wanna just copy and paste that.
Nate,
Is there a formal release coming at some point?
Good question.
it should be, I would think, in the next couple of months. We have our final list of things that are gonna go into it.
And we decided to adopt OpenAI's naming convention, so this is gonna be 05.
Yes, S45.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is on Horizon. Sooner would be better because a lot of us are, I don't know, personally, I want to get the changes to Visual Soar as much as I want to get the changes to Soar, but there are some changes to Soar.
Let's see you, I posted the link.
Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank everybody for participating, even sitting at home with Zoom and listening to us and just consuming electrons is participating. And it really makes a difference for us for having people interested in it and